So this is my top 10 for this season. Like the top is pretty standard with what you've seen everywhere else. Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia. So we can throw those three up there. My only thoughts on these three, they're kind of clearly the class of college football. We all know that. I think Bama, what they bring back with their quarterback and then Will Anderson, Bryce Young and Will Anderson, that's going to be really hard to overcome for everybody else. One thing to pay attention to, they didn't run the ball great last year, in particular in SEC play, and in fact, under 4 yards per carry. What that did is it forced Bryce Young into, pass-oriented situations too often in SEC games, and they actually gave up 28 sacks, which was 12th in the conference. That's one area that they need to get better on. I think that they will. Ohio State, we know their issues. It's on the defensive side. That's probably the best offense in college football. Defensively, though, new coordinator, Jim Knowles, he's got to get them better, in particular stopping the run. They were not great stopping the run, especially their two losses during the year. Oregon ran the ball well on them, and Michigan drove it down their throat there in the second half. Georgia obviously replacing all of those great defensive players, but they still have 14 five-stars on their roster. Now let's continue to go. This is where the mix-up starts to happen with everybody's. Clemson replacing coordinators, that's a big deal, obviously. 5 for Utah. Folks, Utah and the Pac-12, their whole season is kind of on the line their opening week when they go to Florida. That's a huge game. They should win that game because they're a better team than Florida. Utah and Kyle Whittingham has built something really special. Remember, Cameron Rising, when he's their starting quarterback, they were outstanding late last year and really made a run. I love Utah. I've got them at number 5. I think that they're the class of the Pac-12 and could make a push to the playoff for the first time out of that conference in quite some time. Michigan, they are at number 6. I still love what they've got now this year, not so much on the defensive side, but on the offensive side. Quietly, I think this could be the second, third best offense in all of college football. They're going to trade off quarterbacks early in the year, J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara. They're each going to get starts in the first 2 weeks, but they've got weapons around them. Donovan Edwards, a young running back. Blake Corum, another great running back. Andrell Anthony at wide receiver. Ronnie Bell at wide receiver. Eric All at tight end. Like, they got a lot going on that offense. So I really like what Michigan, they're also replacing coordinators. At number 7, I've got Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a really quality team. Last year, I thought that they exceeded expectations. They'll be better at the line of scrimmage. I like what Notre Dame brings back. They're my number 7 team. At number 8, I've got Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. What a recruiting class they've had. Now, granted, they're going to have to get better, in particular in SEC play. Last year, 4-4 in the SEC. They've got to get better there, get better quarterback play as it relates to interceptions and turnovers. At number 9, I've got North Carolina State. And then number 10, I've got USC. That's a little different than most people out there in their polls. North Carolina State quietly has built something very good. Dave Doran, their head coach, has been outstanding. Devin Leary, their quarterback, is back. They've got 10 starters back on their defense, which was the second-ranked defense in the ACC. So North Carolina State should be really good. I would, that game against Clemson, that's one to watch. There's no doubt, and star that one. And then USC. Folks, USC is going to be good on offense. We know that. The question is, defensively, what are they? Remember now, they gave up 37 points per game in Pac-12 play last year. Their defense was atrocious. That's the reason they went 1-7 in their last 8, whatever it was down the stretch. They've got to fix their defense, and they got to fix the line of scrimmage. So there's my top 10. Again, love your thoughts. Hit me up at Joel Klatt on Twitter. Now, there are some teams that are not in my top 10 that are a bit of sleepers, okay? So every year what we've got in college football are teams that may be unranked or not ranked in the top 10 that make a push towards the top 10. Who are those teams? Who are they going to be this year? Well, I always look at the Big Ten West, okay? Because the winner of the Big Ten West likely will be a team that inches up or gets close to the top 10 by the time they go play in the Big Ten championship game. So who are my favorites in the Big Ten West? Well, right now it's Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. When you're handicapping the Big Ten West, what do you have to talk about? The crossover games. Okay, what do you have returning? Each one of these schools has some quality players returning. They've got good history. They've got good success in the last couple of years. But it's Minnesota that avoids Ohio State and Michigan in their crossover games. Yes, they've got to play Penn State. That's going to be a tough one. But they avoid both of the big boys, Michigan and Ohio State. They've got Tanner Morgan, their quarterback, back. Kirk Soraka is back, their offensive coordinator that Morgan had a terrific year with a couple of years ago. They've got Mo Ibrahim back, their running back, who tore his Achilles against Ohio State in that first game last year. And if you remember, he was shredding that Ohio State defense in that first half. It was really a precursor to what we were about to see from Ohio State and their defense the rest of the year. And Minnesota, even without Ibrahim, still went out there and won 9 games. I like Minnesota. Folks, if there's a sleeper team out there that goes from unranked to potentially top 10 or near it, watch out for Minnesota. Rowing that boat with PJ Fleck. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.